If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably in a situation where you're looking at either an alternative side income or looking at maybe transitioning out of your career. But possibly, my guess is there might be a couple of big things holding you back. It's not just the knowledge, but the big one, what we are seeing today, is time. How do you do this? How do you earn income online? How do you learn to do it? How do you actually make the jump from earning in your normal job, working full-time hours, through to transitioning to online income? Well, you want to listen to today's guests because they're doing it. They're right in the middle of their journey. And I thought, the three of us thought, what a great podcast interview to show you guys live. These guys have been doing this now for nearly 12 months. And what we want to share with you is some of their story, but also I want you to realize their main challenges. They have three big challenges. And guys, I'm going to say a big welcome, Norm and Kieron. Thank you for coming on today.
G'day.
Thanks for having us.
It's so good to see you guys because your three big challenges are the fun ones, which I think a lot of our listeners would identify with. One is you are working full-time. Two, you're in a rural area in rural Australia, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the really, really big one, do you want to mention what your family situation is there, guys? Kieron, I want to hear from you because any mums listening to this, wait till you hear this.
We've got three kids. So 3 kids under 6, and we've just thrown a puppy into the mix just to ensure we've got absolutely no free time.
Yeah. So anyone listening to this, and I know a lot of you have probably heard Pete and Renee's interview as well, 3 kids under 6, seems to be a common theme running through the Champions program, doesn't it? You get started with this. So 3 kids under 6, working full time. Both of you, so Norm, what do you guys do for a living?
We're both high school teachers.
High school teachers. So pretty full-on role. So you're working some pretty long hours there. Plus raising 3 kids. And as you said, Kieron, thrown in a puppy just to, put a bit of they have a saying, you want something done, give it to a busy person. So I'm
sure that's us, absolutely.
But you two sound pretty full on, yet you guys are achieving some amazing results. And I do want to say a massive congratulations. That's the other reason we're kind of celebrating some of your results by doing this podcast, because do you want to share with us what you're doing now with the material that you've learned here at eBusiness Institute?
Yep. Do you want to go?
Yeah, so probably Norm started the journey about 2 years ago. So looking for exactly what you said, that side income, really started down that through Captain Fi, that passive income, and trying to build that up. And that's when he stumbled across you guys, and he started the web dev course.
Yep.
And kept saying to me, I was heading into mat leave at the time, kept saying to me, I think this is something you should do. And me about to have the third child, just looking at him going, no, I just want to put the other 2 kids in daycare and sit and watch Netflix with the newborn baby. This is not, I don't need a course, thanks anyway. But once he sort of started doing it, and he's like, this is definitely just having that system in place, the structure of the course, the support from the course. Once I'd gone through the newborn phase, and I did get in plenty of Netflix, and we got through that. Yep. Once our youngest was probably about, maybe 6 months.
Yeah.
And I still had, a few more months of mat leave. I looked and I went, actually, no, this is something that I could try my hand at as well. So we both sort of started building up that side of it. And then we joined Champions. Yeah. So we're in our first year of Champions.
Yeah.
And so now we're at the point where, we're starting getting paid clients. We've started up our own sort of agency happening here. It's been a very big 12 months particularly, but exciting.
I would say so. I mean, well done, guys. So here you are. You have your third little one, and you decide, all right, we're going to go all in on this. Yeah. So Norm, for you, were you always interested in the FIRE movement? Is that where you first heard about us?
Yeah. So, years and years ago, I read Tim Ferriss' The 4-Hour Work Week. And that sort of opened my mind because we're both from working class families, and having that sort of idea of being able to create wealth over the long term was never really a thing that we discussed at home. So I read that, and then from there I think I went on to Rich Dad Poor Dad and started reading that, and then the whole FIRE movement and Captain Fi podcast, and I was listening to that, and then he interviewed you, and then that's when it all sort of started. Wasn't long after that we did I signed up to the web dev course, and I sat on it for about 12 months. I sort of started it and then didn't get into it. And then, probably 2 years ago, I was like, no, this is something that interests me. And I've always had something on the side in addition to whatever my job is, just to keep my brain active. So it was always something I was interested in. I just went down the rabbit hole and still digging.
Well, that's cool. And as you both know, and if you're listening to this, Norm and Kieron just mentioned hearing about us first on the Captain Fi podcast. Captain Fi is one of our star students here at eBusiness, of course, and he's gone on to do great things with the things that we taught here. And if you're wondering what FIRE movement is, financial independence, retire early. So you're ready to retire yet, guys, or you're just starting on your journey by the sounds of it?
No, not quite retirement level yet.
Well, we can't wait. But just the change in lifestyle, we keep looking, knowing that, just more time available to us, more time with our family, that's something that we sort of keep coming back to, just having that balance and not to do nothing, to do something with our time, but something that, is ours, and it frees up the time to spend together. And having a common interest has been fun too, like to work on it together and to have that conversation that we're sort of talking about different things, and as opposed to coming home and just, complaining about work, we're coming home, we're just talking about what build are we up to. It's been nice for us to do together, I think. Yeah,
it's been really nice. Definitely not just talking about kids or work, it's something else to work through together.
Talking about Matt and Liz instead on our date nights.
Thanks, Kieron.
You're
in good ways.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we talk, I think we've spoken about this a lot, Matt, and we hear you guys say it coming from working class, and it's just a total change in how you think. I think, being raised in, my dad's still working, he's nearly 70, and he's still, in a truck and just doing huge hours. And that idea that just to work more and more and more and never really get ahead, that's been something that has been, I know that work ethic, I think, has been good for us. Like we've definitely utilised that, but the work ethic, that maybe the financial literacy and the smarts that sort of go with that is what we want to change for ourselves and for our kids, I think, too.
And so much we've learned from you guys over the last 12 months in Champions in relation to how to apply those things and how it works in the real world, which has been really cool.
And building alternative assets, and hats off to you both, because I know the journey you're on. It's and like you said, Kieron, I think the hard work ethic is helping you guys, because obviously you guys are under the pump. 3 kids under 6, right? And you've got your new one there, but also the roles that you're in. And I guess that's a really good point. When you've grown up working class, you like you said, your dad's still working and you just swap time for money. You're used to it. You think that's the way it works. But you can now see you guys, even in the limited time that you two have, this is pretty cool. As you were saying that, Kieron, I'm thinking, man, you guys are guns. Even in the limited time that you guys have had, you think about it, you're building an asset. You could already sell your agency, and you haven't even been doing this for 12 months yet. That's pretty mind-blowing, you can start to see the leverage points as well. So for you both, this is really interesting. You guys decided to, whilst you're interested in alternative income, like buying and selling websites and things, first and foremost, you've decided to go for the digital agency strategy. What drew you to that, considering how little time you have and things like that? Because there's more time needed in that. What drew you to that?
I would say lots of listening to Matt.
Good answer, Norm.
No, that definitely wasn't on my radar to start with, because we're coming from that FIRE sort of position of buying assets and that idea of semi-passive and that, but then listening to yourself talk about the value in it, and also just that idea of it's such a great way of learning the craft before you dive into the deep end, like really it's just a perfect way to develop your skills. And also the cool thing's been like talking to local people and having those conversations and, what do you need, what do you want, and helping people and seeing their face when you build a new site for them, or you upgrade their site for them or something like that, and they're just so pumped with the work that you do. That's been really, really rewarding and fun.
Yeah. I think it was a confidence builder to start with as well, like learning the new skills, applying them, seeing they worked. And then we were just in the process of learning those skills. So we'd done a couple of free builds. We had someone who asked us to rebuild for them in Canberra. So there was a bathroom reno company in Canberra, which we said, yeah, sure. Like if you're happy to trust us, this is about a third or fourth build. And we hadn't started our agency yet. So we still was considering ourselves, we're just learning. We'll try out these skills for you guys. They had no calls. They never had this. So Canberra building industry, there was no need. There was no need to go looking for clients. There was plenty of money. But post-COVID, and once all of the, sort of everyone sort of talked about the supplies had massively increased in cost, they had no clients booked in, which they'd never had. And so we renovated their website, and they'd gone from, no leads in their website to ranking 40th to 4th. And now they're booked out. Yeah. We did too good a job with it. we missed a potential SEO client because we did too good a job. But they got 6 leads. They're pretty much averaging 6 leads.
Yeah, 4 to 6 leads a month.
From that.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think that was sort of the starting actually, like the agencies, we can do that. Like the confidence that we knew we had enough skills, enough knowledge to actually start it. And so that was probably, the final decision maker was that we could go for it, and started from there.
Go guys. So that so something you said, Kieron, that was a massive confidence booster for you. So really that one site build was the catalyst for your success now, what you're doing now.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Can I just reiterate that for anyone listening to this? So Kieron and Norm decided to listen to Matt and learn. You just start building sites for friends and family and people around. And remembering Kieron and Norm are in a rural town in, can we mention you're okay to say which town you're in?
Yeah.
Orange, New South Wales, which is, anyone in Australia knows Orange. It's about 40-odd thousand people, but it's very rural based. It's all farms around there. And so you're just building sites. You hit a big win with someone in Canberra, which is, how far away is Canberra? Was that just through friends and family, was it?
Yeah. About 4 hours away.
4 hours away, you build a site for them, and from having no leads at all, suddenly this business now's got regularly 6 to 7 leads a month now, and you were saying they're fully booked out. So at that point, that's when you said, wow, we can do this. So did you start charging after then? So you'd built what? That was your 4th or 5th site, was it, at that point?
Yeah, so that was our first rebuild we'd ever done. So
and what was that like for you, Norm? Just explain.
How many hours do you think you spent on that, Norm?
Yeah, how many hours do you think you spent on it? Just so people realise what you had to put into this.
So it was on WP Bakery, which I didn't even know what that was. It has nothing to do with flour or bread or any of those things. So I looked at that, and then I was like, well, what have I got myself into? And then I just spent lots of time on YouTube working things out myself. So I would have spent a couple of hours most nights, and then through the holidays as well. So I don't know, 20 hours maybe on it. Yeah. Learned a ton, learned so much doing it. Was awesome. Definitely put a good base in for understanding how to use Elementor and the skills you guys do, but like refining those skills.
And look at the payoff now, though. That confidence is that's what we're trying to do here. If you're listening to this and you're a beginner, I think your first big step is exactly what Norm and Kieron have done, is you just want to get that online confidence, because there is tech stuff to do in this. And then you outsource it later on. So you do a bit of work up front in learning this stuff. Yeah. But like what you were saying, Norm, how cool is it now? And whenever I speak, you can just see the confidence in you guys. Yeah. It's pretty amazing. And think of it, you've got a skill for life now. You can take that with you wherever you go. Like if you did want to change, I know you're not quitting your jobs yet or anything like that, but if you did want to, fully transition to this, you now can do that. Now, what's happened since? Now you decided, say, Kieron, who made the decision to start charging for the websites at that point?
I think once we'd done that and we knew that we were able to do it. And the other thing that we kept noticing was this probably came from that build. They were being charged nearly $200 a month for hosting. Yep. So this particular business was being hosted, and they said, we're being charged about $200 a month for nothing. That was this site had not been touched since 2017.
Yeah, 2017.
Yeah.
And we just noticed as well, there were so many people that actually had no idea about just any of website build, hosting, maintenance. They knew nothing about it. And you could tell that people were ripe for being ripped off.
Yep.
And so, I don't know, I think that, you know, something that you and Liz come back to all the time is you're solving problems, you're helping people. Yeah. That definitely helped that. Any thoughts of imposter syndrome? We realised actually, you know, like that idea that can we start a digital agency? You know, we've only been on this journey for a bit over 12 months. Is it legitimate for us to do it? But once you realise people actually, and particularly Norm is very good at breaking down what is SEO, what is it that is like all those different things that people really struggle to understand. And so the more Norm had conversations with people, I could just see people feeling really grateful that, oh, actually, I could give this to you and I know it's okay. I know that it's safe. So I think that was the deciding factor that we're going to start. And speaking of one of our big problems that's just arrived. Yes, Dylan. Sorry. There's one of them. One of them in the flesh. So she's just reminding me that I promised her if she was quiet, she'd get a lolly. So she's just reminding me that she's quiet. So I think that idea that we were providing something for people that was going to help them. So we looked and saw that, I don't know, there was a bit of a gap in the market that we can come into this and not try and be those big marketing agencies or those big digital agencies that people got told, you know, here's this huge price. Don't worry, we're going to handle it with this massive price, and then sometimes not really getting what they wanted either. I think the difference is we have really, really deep conversations with people about what their business goals are. This is exactly what you and Liz are talking about. Chat to them, find out what they want, and then provide that, you know, help them with that. And so, we sort of started up I've started up Right Digital. The idea that everyone else is sort of doing one thing and we're a bit of a right in amongst the mix. And just getting to know people and finding out about their business and their goals and helping them understand you don't have to pay for ads. You don't have to pay for radio advertising, which is a pretty big one here in Orange. There's a lot of paid big advertising. Yep. You don't have to pay that huge money to effectively generate leads.
Yep. And so this is what I wanted to point out to, like, for our, you know, obviously Liz and I grew up on the land as well, just like you guys in rural areas. We have a lot of rural listeners to this podcast and even like across America as well. And you've got to realize, guys, that no matter where you are, you can help people get online once you've got the skills. And I think it works particularly well in rural areas. I've always said that to champions, building digital agencies in rural areas, because it comes down to conversations, what you're saying, Kieron. You guys can get out and go and chat to locals, and they know people these days want to buy locals, particularly in this day and age of AI and a lot of, like you said, like the two of you have noticed, there's big digital agencies out there that become a bit faceless, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you're finding in a rural town, people love the fact that you're actually there. You can drive down and meet them for a cup of coffee and talk about their businesses, and you know what they're trying to do with their rural base or that country town's business. You know the streets they're in. You probably know half their client base. It makes a huge difference rather than talking to someone from the big cities, like from Sydney and stuff. And have you found that to be the case? Like people are really open to the conversations with you guys, even though you're quite new to it? Like, have you found
absolutely.
That?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Kieron's been out probably a bit more than I have, but just chatting to, or just finished doing one for Kieron's friend and having a conversation with her about she's doing a tutoring business and just talking through, what her goals are, and it even brought up a lot of questions for her about what she's doing and how she's doing it, and just being able to pitch different ways she could go about, working with her business and how she could look to expand it even just by going through the process you guys teach and asking questions and trying to really get down to the nuts and bolts of what it is that they want.
But it's been a point of difference as well. So our recent potential client, we're hoping that we can close on it. They were searching for an SEO company, and they are in a regional place, but quite a long way from us. And their nearest big centre is Sydney, which I suppose ours is too, actually. If you were looking for a big digital agency, you'd be looking for Sydney. And they typed in Sydney, and he just said every company I looked at, he said it just reeked of big city. He said it was exactly what you said, impersonal, faceless. And he said in the end, I just typed in SEO New South Wales. and we came up in the top 10. Which we're stoked about, and that's how he got onto us. And he just called me. He has 3 little kids as well. He was traveling at the time, so I'm outside walking the puppy. That's obviously chaos. And I just got chatting to him. The kids were coughing. We got chatting about illnesses and all these different things, just as two parents do. And he just said, when he said, I said, I'm just curious how you found us, and stoked that you did. But he said just that idea that, I know you're in Orange, you're a long way from us, but he said, I just felt much more confident that I was not getting this big company I was going to get. And I said, absolutely, that's what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to provide that.
That's super cool, because he's another rural business. You okay if I say, because this is a big deal. This is a vet so go guys, this is a vet. It's not just one vet. He owns a whole heap of veterinary practices. And so when you think about it, if you're a rural-based business, you're at a big advantage, because other rural-based businesses, they don't even have to be in your country town, will want to do business with you, because like you're finding, Kieron, they're not comfortable working with the big city-based agencies. And they get on with you, and you found common ground with 3 kids.
Yeah.
Cool. And a dog. Is that why you've just gotten a dog? Looks good to your new client. That's really cool. And so now that you're charging for this is still very early days. If you're listening to this, you're hearing it live. We wanted to capture this moment in time. But what's the average price that you're building websites for now?
Yeah, so we've just had our biggest bill. We're in the process of, at the moment, we've charged almost $5,000. So that's for a videographer.
Right.
I think on average, we probably sit around that $3,000 for a basic build. And I say that now, if you'd asked me a couple of months ago, Matt, I would have probably been a bit awkward answering that question. And we kept saying to friends and family, oh, it's fine. The build we've just done for a friend. We told her $1,500, which we knew at the time we're offering it at half price. But I think pretty confidently now, even if it was friends or family, that would be the rate. Like, I think the time, the knowledge that goes into it now, we're not doing a basic job by any means. Like, we're still doing really detailed keyword research. We're having, a lot of time is being spent on it. And as you pointed out, it's from sort of 8 p.m. at night is the time that's being spent on it.
That was my next question. All right. The big one that everyone wants to know, how the hell are you guys fitting this into your time? So do we go to Supermum last? Norm, you've probably got the easier role. That's a joke for any of us parents. But so how are you both fitting it in? What's your, and how are you also doing the role? So let's look at that to give people an idea of how they could do it in their lives.
So probably the biggest, pairing in a few things like from you guys in Champions doing the 90-day, setting like 90-day goals. That's been huge. So just sitting down and saying, what can we get done in 3 months, and writing those things down. And then a book I read a little while ago now called Getting Things Done. They have like there's a weekly review basically. So on a Sunday night, we'll sit down and we'll sort of look at our calendars, and this is our personal life, our work life, and the website build. And then we'll sit down and we'll go through and say, well, what happened last week? What do we need to achieve this week coming? What are our long-term goals? How are we tracking on those? And then we basically go, right, well, this is the next step on this project. What's the next most important step on this project? Okay, well, and then we try and just schedule it into our week. So like, right, we'll just do it this night here. We'll just try and put an hour or 2 in here. If things get really busy at work, then we have to just postpone things and just do the minimum where we can. And then when we're a bit quieter, like it's holidays, we put our foot down and we go faster and harder then. But I think that's probably been...
So you're finding it's flexible time-wise in like running the agency. You can we won't use the word stall clients, but you can move it to the weekends and things like that.
I suppose we're not busy enough yet where we're getting to that point where we're overwhelmed at the moment. So that might come soon, hopefully.
So most of your work, though, so Kieron, you were joking, most of the stuff that you are doing, though, so to be clear, is after 8 o'clock at night once you've put the kids to bed. Is that right?
Yeah.
So you guys are so young. It's like Arnie says, I always quote Arnie.
We don't feel young, Matt.
Good answer. Well, you look young,
Thank you.
but like Arnie says, just sleep less. You can when you're young. I can't. I'm in my 50s. I need my beauty sleep, but you guys to sleep. So you're doing it after 8 until what time? Like how?
You're good. You'll push till 11. I don't push that late, but it depends. It does depend on what's required. It is, as you said, if you want something done, you give it to a busy person. There's times where we'll get up before the kids if that's what has to happen. And there's times where we get them to bed and, our 4-year-old had a little habit for a while there where he was getting up and down a few times before 8 o'clock. We're like, no, mate, you've got to be in bed because we've got things we need to do.
Wow.
So it's a pretty strict bedtime routine to make sure they're in and asleep. They're usually down by about 7. So it gives us enough time to have a bit of a chat and get started. And we've also got much better at outsourcing.
Yeah, I've done lots of outsourcing.
Which has been, again, if you'd spoken to me a few months ago, I would have said, I can do that. All of these things, I can do them. And Norm kept saying, you can't be the bottleneck though. So that idea.
So who have you hired there to help you when you say outsourcing?
We've got a techie who's completed 2 builds for us.
Awesome.
So probably not fully completed, but we sort of, as one of the other coaches, Kieron, said, if they get you 70% of the way there, then that's only 30% of the job you've got to do. So we've sort of started with that. And then just getting our SOPs together, standing operating procedures together and trying to clear that up moving forward. But that definitely, in the long run, we see that saving some time.
Definitely.
And
just then using the skills we've got to finesse it. So getting a lot of the just basic build done, and then we sort of finesse that. We do so far we've done all the copy and the keyword research and that sort of stuff. We've outsourced an audit, an SEO audit, and we're absolutely astounded by it. We were just thrilled with the detail in it. We'd already done a preliminary one, and then just out of curiosity, we thought we'll chuck it out to these guys because sort of got nothing to lose. This is for the potential client, the vet. So we just wanted to make sure that we sort of hit every base we could. And that was just really, really interesting to read their report and really thorough. We were really delighted with that.
You just hired them off Upwork? Because there's so many opportunities there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is that where you got your techie from as well, Upwork?
No, it was from a champion in the champions community. Someone posted that they had a techie who did some work. So
we've outsourced. Our sitemap wasn't showing up properly through Google, and I fiddled around with it a few times, and we still just knew that this wasn't something right. And we realised we're sinking too many hours into trying to fix it, so we outsourced that. And again, he was great. So he had it fixed within sort of 2 hours.
We could
email, I'd spent more than that on it already and hadn't solved the problem. I think we got to the point where we know what we know, but also know when someone else knows more than us, and to pick those things out. We've outsourced a bit of writing to varied success. We've had a few rewrites when it was too AI. So the writing we haven't probably hit the mark on yet. We haven't found a great writer.
It sounds like you're getting a lot more confidence around that space as well. Like you said, Kieron, if we'd asked you 2 months ago, now look where you're at. This is, if you're listening to this is the sort of journey. I think you guys are the perfect example of, a live example of the journey, how this can pan out, particularly if you're working full time. And I should mention too, Kieron, I just realized what hours are you work? Because that is, you freed up some time. Is that correct?
Well, I work 4 days, but the day I have off, I have children home with me. So aside from the 2-hour nap in the middle of the day, it's certainly not free time, but there is about 2 hours there where the baby goes to bed and the toddler will watch a bit of a movie that I can get a few things done. But no, I'm probably better off at work in terms of getting extra things done, the lunch breaks and that at work. I'm probably more effective in firing up a few emails, and it's just efficiency. Like I think, and probably mums will know that especially when you go back to work, everything runs to a schedule and you keep everyone on that schedule, and you just and I mean, not to say that our life is scheduled, that everything is, but we just know to make use of the time we have. And then we also go to the point where we set family time. So in that Sunday night, we set, are we going to have, we try and have a date between us, I say every few weeks, but just the two of us trying to plan, even if it's just takeaway at home where it's just, okay, we're having a chat tonight, not about work. I mean, or the kids, which probably doesn't leave many points of conversation left. And we set family time. What are we going to do? And even in our goals, our 90-day goals, we set We're going to try and get to the gym this many times.
And health goals and the stuff you guys teach us.
Yeah, that's all in there, and that we sort of review every Sunday night. Are we doing these things? Perfect. And the goal setting has been really effective.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal.
Yeah, and the big goals that, you know, the BHAG as well, that we keep coming back to, you know, this is where we're going. This is why we're doing it.
I think it's awesome too to see you guys as a young couple too, okay, working hard at this, but you're obviously working together on this as well.
Yeah.
And how are you know, a lot of people want to know how do couples work together because you've never worked together before, you've never considered it before. And I know Pete and Renee get asked that a lot as well. So I'll ask you guys, on this journey, how have you found work? How are you separating out the jobs? Who does what? Or do you share what like you said, defined roles for both of you, or do you work on things together, or where are you at this point in your journey?
So it's been a pretty organic process, to be fair. We've it was pretty ad hoc at the start, as we're still learning the skills. So you sort of don't have that foresight to know what's coming up. Whereas now we sort of have a bit of an idea of what are the things that are coming up in the process. And then it can basically from there, I'm dyslexic. So the copy side of sites isn't my forte. Was Kieron, that's definitely more of her strength. So she does a lot more of the copy side of things. And then I love doing the design side of it more. Awesome. So we've sort of fallen into our groove. We're pretty complementary in our skill sets. I think we're pretty similar to you, Liz, and yourself, whereas I take my time and I could do something for a day, and then Kieron will come in and whip through in like 2 hours. And but it's sometimes it can be a little bit more rough around the edges, maybe.
Absolutely.
Just gets it done. It's done.
I get the 80% done, and then I want it smashed out, hyper focus. I'm not talking to anyone until it's done. Yeah. Then I'll leave that. And probably now that I know as well by personality, Norm is attention to detail. He's all about making sure the process. And so we probably got some teething issues, some frustrations to start with when you feel like, are you on that? Am I on this? Yeah. But now I think, we had to keep sort of going back and forth. Like, did you send that email? Am I sending that? Yeah. Definitely. We did find that.
Still working through it.
Yeah, well, Liz and I still get that now too.
Okay.
Because when you work so closely together, it's funny, Kieron, what you just said. Often I'll say to Liz, oh, did you answer that email? And she goes, no, I thought you did. And so that's why I will come back to something that I think if you're listening to this and you want to work with your partner in this, it's a really smart idea, and you're time pressured, killing two birds with one stone. Do the Sunday night meetings together. Yeah. Or for Liz and I, as you both know, we do it, if you're listening, Liz and I do it on a Monday morning, every Monday morning. We sit together, we've taken the kids to school, we sit down together, and that's the first thing we do, and we go through the tasks. But you guys do it on a Sunday night because you have 3 kids, we only have 2. So after the kids have gone to bed, guys, I think that's a really, really smart move, and obviously it gets you on focus. And now that you've learnt the skills, again, if you're listening to this, you can see the journey here. There's this learning period where you learn the skills. Now, like you kept saying, Kieron, throughout this interview, now, if we'd asked you 2 months ago, it was all different back then, but now things are falling into place. You're starting to know what the roles are. And guys, like, seriously, I want to say a massive congratulations. You're like exactly who we love to teach, and you're the perfect example of what can be achieved here with high achievers. You guys are under the pump time-wise, and think what you've just talked about, what you've achieved, working, mum of 3 kids in a rural area, working the hours that you do, having to do all this at night, and then also in lunch hours, like you said, Kieron, as well. Massive congratulations. You're already making really good money out of this on the side. This is awesome. This is so inspirational for all of us listening to this podcast. I want to say a big thank you for coming along today and sharing your journey. And I want to do another update in a year's time.
Yes, excellent.
Absolutely. That'd be cool.
But we're so grateful to you guys as well. And it's not just you and Liz who, have built up this brilliant business, but we've relied on the coaches so much. So much. And just having that support structure, that community network, the Facebook page, we're always on there. We're always, we're tagging each other in the Facebook posts, like, make sure we go through this tonight. Just that, I think particularly Norm, really, whilst I was having babies, you were really driving that. There's something else, this idea of that side income. He really kept coming back to it. You know, we need to build our own life where we're not reliant on the employer. We've got our own, you know, sort of our own things happening. And as soon as he kept saying to me that I'm onto something with this, when he found, you know, EB's, that this is the structure is there. That's what we needed, that the support network was there, the structure was there.
Yep.
We have some non-negotiables, like we never ever miss a webinar, like in a week, we're never a week behind. Like we've got that sort of those things in place that keep us on task. Whereas I think without that, we'd sort of come across different things, you know, which, you know, dabble in investing, whether that's the thing that's going to create a better lifestyle for our family.
Yeah.
Whereas this, once we started it, we knew it had the things we needed, it had the structure, it had the support, it had the community. So yeah, thanks to you guys for building that.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Well,
to you guys.
I
Yeah,
want to say a big thank you. This is
very
just
grateful.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thank you so much. I think you've just helped inspire so many people and and help them out on what they need to learn as well. Is absolutely fantastic. So big thank you guys for coming along today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, Matt.
Nice to chat to
Greatly
you.
appreciate it.